Hello, everyone. Carla here with Carly Cues, and it is Tuesday afternoon. It's actually noon here in Oregon, and it is time for my live demo that I do every Tuesdays. So today, I thought that I would do a little bit of art yarn spinning. I wasn't quite sure yet what I was thinking about doing or what type of yarn spinning, but I brought out my big, well, I don't know if I can bring it into the screen, but I brought out my big bin full of locks. And it's been a while since I've done just regular, what I would call lock spinning. Uh-oh, hold on. We're going to have an incident here. That bin's really heavy. I don't even know how many pounds of locks I have in there, but I've got all different types of stuff. So it's just a casual Tuesday afternoon. I thought it would be fun to do that. We've kind of been working on. Hi, Mary. Oh, hi, Marco. Sorry, I just now saw that comment. I need to pay better attention. So I should be able to see your comments. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask. And if I miss it, maybe bring it back up again. That's okay, because sometimes I don't see everything, or it goes, it scrolls a little too fast. I like to watch it, hook it up to where I have my laptop going too, because that's where I can see the comments. When you do it from a phone or iPad, also, the comments will disappear faster. So you have to see them right that second when it happens. So anyhow, yeah. So we've all been kind of doing the Tour de Fleece spinning. So I've been doing that. My latest thing that I've decided to do is that I want to make just a simple pullover, like little summer tee, not sweater type thing. But I've been wanting to do it out of a thick and thin yarn. So I have a pound or two in the merino bamboo in this color, the orange and yellow. And I thought, well, that would be pretty. Hi, Jennifer. As maybe like an end of summer campfire-ish little pullover. So we'll give that a go and see what happens. But anyhow, so for the locks today, I pulled out a couple different types. So I'm not really big on technical terms. So if I say something in a certain way, ask if you need to ask questions and see if that's correct, then let me know, because that's okay too. I'm not a perfectionist by any means, so art yarn is definitely the way that is my favorite way to spin. So anyhow, the difference between what I would call lock spinning as opposed to core spinning is, with core spinning, I use a core. So I have a core yarn and I'm wrapping my fibers over it. When I'm doing lock spinning, let's see if I can pull this up into the screen. I am spinning just directly from the lock. And so you can still see it's a rustic looking yarn, because you can still see all the texture. It's spun like a single, but it is not a smooth one. It's still what I would consider an artistic type yarn. So depending on what type of fiber that you use, or what type of wool, then your look is going to vary. I don't know. Let me see if I can pull it all the way out. I started out with some BFL, and it was a really tight crimp. Where is it? So it took a little bit more fiber prep, but this is it with a BFL. So you can see that it still has the little tiny curls rolling through there too. So that is what I got started on. I hadn't done that type of spinning in a long while, so I thought, well, I'm going to do a little practice here and see what happens. I would have to say my favorite to do this type of spinning with is probably mohair. I really like to do it with mohair curls, but we can go through. I'm just going to grab from my pile over here, and we'll go from there. So I will get the camera set down low. I might start off with a lot of these locks I don't have labeled. This one, I don't remember what fleece this was from. This was one that I had bought about a year ago, and it was kind of caught. Would you say caught it or kind of felt it a little bit? But something like this, when you're first starting, is really super easy to spin with, because if you're able to pull it out like so, then it's super easy to get started. And I would consider spinning from this as like lock spinning. Otherwise, we're going to be using locks like these are really long ones. I'll show you how to do these. Not tail spinning, just core spinning. Lock spinning. And then we've got some of these, and then we've got lots of other goodies. So let me get the camera turned down so we can get to that, because that's probably what everyone would like to see. So let me scoot over here. We'll turn this down. I wish wouldn't it be cool if this was just some like electronic and I could just push a control button and it would go, like that. So let's see. That probably is a good spot for it. The shaking will be over soon, guys. Okay. So it's hot today. I got my shorts on, but when you are lock spinning, because especially with the locks, you get a lot of like little fallout material is what I would call. And again, I'm using the Country Spinner. You can use any wheel that you would like to use. As long as you're spinning thin enough for it to fit through your orifice, that would be fine. Like I've got my Kiwi sitting in front of this wheel, and I could definitely spin this size through that as well. But let me show you this one. This, since I've already got it on here, now these are some long locks. I think that this came off of, I don't know if this is Border Leicester or not, but the way I prep it, you can do a couple different things. With the really long locks, you can just pull them apart. This would be my suggestion, is pulling them apart and then spinning from the halfway. This is the length of it. I would start spinning from halfway here, like that. Now, a different video, this would be great for tail spinning. I'm not, really very good at tail spinning. I don't have the patience for it. But when you're tail spinning, then you're basically fluffing up that end of the tip, the cut tip, and then you're spinning it, locking it in, and then you're adding more as you go. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to be doing lock spinning. I just want to show how it's possible to do it from any type of locks. So, hi Tamara. So with this one, I would take it and split it right in the middle, like so. So this is a really fun technique, especially if you're just working with your, you're trying to get your treadling down. I always do treadle a little bit slower when I'm spinning these. So I will grab this piece since it's prepped, add it on here in the middle, make sure I get enough twist so it's locked on there, and then spin down this long curl. So if you want to keep it kind of curly and showing these little bits, don't spin it, super tight. You want to just go slow and make sure you've got some of those bits and pieces sticking out. Now on this longer fiber, I'm going to admit that it is easier because you're not working with the shorter bits. When you're working with the shorter bits, then it's a little bit harder. What I usually do too is I'll prep out my fiber. So I'll have a big bowl full of something that's ready to go. So you don't have to do it, don't have to keep stopping and starting. With the longer locks, you can pull them apart with your hands like this, which work fine. You can also use a little brush of some type, a little flicker brush. You can pull your lock out. Make sure you've got something on your lap before you do it. Grab it and pull. And this makes it easy too. and a lot faster to open up these locks. So we'll finish this little bit and then we'll move on to another type of fiber. So you're adding it on. Make sure you've got your join. Make sure you've got enough twist in that join. And then you're just grabbing and adding your bits of fiber. So me, it feels a lot like core spinning. You can do a coreless core spin, and a longer curls like this would be good for that. But I'm not going to do that today. But I really like the look of how this comes out. You don't know where that pretty little lock came from. Well, we'll put it in there anyways. Probably from another one that I had been processing that day. But it's just a lot of manipulating with your hands, the wool and the curls, and how you would like it to play out. So that's one way to do it with the longer locks. The next type of one, let me show you this one. So this one, this is like that. This is the one that I had shown you. We don't need to do the whole thing, but let's do part of it. We'll split it apart. What I would do with this one is that I would probably put it through my little box picker if I was going to card it or anything. But to prep it, this is so soft. I can pull it apart. It had so much veggie matter in it. It was a fleece that I had gotten really, really cheap. But it has the tips intact. So I like, that's what sold me on it, was because it had these little curls in here. So this is going to be another way that you can do it. So for some reason, somebody is like, hey, I've got some, you know how it happens? Like when you're a spinner, once people find out, it's like all of a sudden they're like, oh, hey, my neighbor has sheep. Do you want their wool? Or, things like that. I don't know if that happens to you guys, but it happens to me a lot. And in the beginning, I used to say, oh, yeah, sure. But now I'm much pickier because, for one, I don't enjoy washing fleece. A lot of people do. I don't know if you guys do or not. You can let me know, or if there's a secret to liking it. I'm not sure. I think it's a smell issue or a texture issue. I don't know what it is. So I'm not a big fan of cleaning fleece unless it's very low lanolin and it's clean. Then it's kind of almost like washing or rinsing fiber. But anyhow, back to this type. So you can see there's a lot of veggie matter in this. So it'll drop out most of it as I'm spinning. But if it doesn't, I might have to pick it out later. But that's one of the things. You get the free fleeces, and then it's like you have to put in a lot of work to take care of it. But this one wasn't free. This was just, it was inexpensive. And had I had a like a tumbler or something to put it through first to get that off, or I should have shook it really well. But like I said, I'm not really good at cleaning fleeces. It's just not anything that I enjoy doing. So to add this, so I prepped it, and I've kind of got one long piece of it as if it was just some roving. Let's see, you were given your first fleece, Jennifer, but it was so dirty. Yeah, see, I get that. That's kind of how my experience was. I know I did figure out that when they're dirty, if you just do soak, just soaking it first, a couple different times of soaking just to get the dirt out before you even try to get rid of the lanolin and stuff, that helped. But yeah, my first one I tried to clean. I didn't like it. And my best friend who does fiber, she lived nearby. And so I took it to her. She's like, I don't mind doing it. I'll clean it. So I said, perfect. So she took care of that for me. But yeah, it's not something that I enjoy doing. But it is a learning process too. So when those free fleeces come along, not buyer beware, but beware, you might be in for a little bit of work. See, Mary doesn't mind washing it. because you don't want the lanolin to clog your pipes. In your house. So you haul the water outside. You're not that. Yeah, it is. I get that, Mary. I know it is really hard. I know. Even when I'm dyeing, I dye in really big stock pots, but my stove is so close to my sink where I'm dumping it, so I kind of just do it like kind of a not a twist, but just a little shuffle to get it over. But the wool holds so much water that it does make it really heavy. Um, I bought one of those outdoor camp stove 2 burner things so I could heat up water outside, and so that was going to be my plan. I've got a couple bags of wool that needs to be cleaned, and that was kind of going to be my plan for doing that this summer outside. So I need to pull that out and get started with it. I guess the other option with it being so heavy, I mean, you could probably use like a pot or something to scoop in and take it out a bit at a time, but it is a lot of work. So this, I have to tell you, this fleece is so soft. You know, I remember this being a blend or a mix, and I think it was a Rambouillet something, I think is what it was. And I got it because the colors, look at the colors in this. See if I can show it. There's all different colors in this. I think it was a Rambouillet merino mix or something, I can't remember, but I really love this fleece. And it spins, once you get it going from your long piece here, it spins up really easily. So you're still spinning like a single, but you're letting these curls, or in my case, I like to do it with the curls and the locks. You're letting them do what they want to do and kind of show off a little bit. Let them stick out some. So we're working with the easier fibers down to the harder ones. The shorter stapled ones are a little bit harder. But these long ones, you're kind of just drafting it out, because you do still draft. You don't just spin. You've got to draft because you have to have it get that twist so it can hold on. I'll try to turn it this way. This is so soft. But I want those little curls popping out. I don't want to pull it too much. I want that to show. And this is actually one of the ways that I really enjoy spinning. So we're a little loose here. We'll make sure we get some twist on so it doesn't fall apart. And as long as you have enough twist in this fiber, it will be sturdy. You won't have a problem. You'll still, you can steam it. With this one though, I would probably do the soaking in the hot water, spinning it out, and then hanging it to dry. I would probably do that with it, because I would want it to kind of not felt, but I just want to make sure it was really, really good together. So let's pull this one out and see how it came out. So such a neat texture. It's a lot lighter weight. It's smaller, thinner than the way I core spin. I've never plied these, but I guess you could ply it back on itself and it would look like this, then you'd have a much sturdier yarn. But I don't think you'd have a problem with it at all anyways. I've used this for trim in hats that I would make or scarves that I would make, and that worked out really well. Let's see, this bag, I believe, these are border luster locks. So they're curly, and I love that. Let's see if we can put them right there. The light's kind of funky in here. And they're real curly, and they're not too long. They're kind of short, and they're easy enough to pull apart. So to prep these, I would just do this by hand. The curls aren't too tight. So you could do it 2 ways. You could just prep a lap full and spin, and then grab another handful and do it that way. Or grab a bunch, weigh it out, say you're going to do a 2-ounce skein or a 3 or 4-ounce skein, then prep it all beforehand. You could run it through your carder if you wanted to, but mind you, unless you've got a carder with a coarse TPI like 72 maybe, but 54 for sure. Otherwise, it's probably your carder might thin it out or card it a little too much to where you lose the curls in here. And for me, the reason I do it, or I would like to spin this way, is because I kind of like to see those curls in there. So it's like this one. These have a much shorter staple length than before. So this is probably maybe 3.5 inches or so. So that's perfect for this. This you can grab by the handful. And you're just going to manipulate that and pull. You're still going to need to squeeze some of these to make sure that they're getting on there and getting enough twist. With the shorter fibers, you've got to spin faster because you got to make sure you get enough twist in there. So spin a bit faster. Whatever doesn't get spun will fall back into your lap, and then you can just pick it up from there and spin. Get a little handful. This isn't a very, it's not a super soft one fleece, but it's soft enough that it would work well. And again, like this yarn, the question always comes up: what do you use it for? Weaving's probably number one when it comes to art yarns. The other thing would be using it as accent pieces. Maybe if you're doing a sweater or a hat, you could use the yarn that you're using and then maybe go back in and put in an accent row of the curls like that. But this is what you end up with. So I really like that. Let's try one more and then I'll do the colored fiber. I have mohair, which I think is probably one of the easier ones to use. And it has the tighter curls. So you do want to make sure you're prepping it right. And prepping this, again, I just pull from the center to open the lock up. You could use that brush, which I don't know where I put it, and do this. Oh, here it is. You could use a small flicker brush to open up the ends, and that works too. That one's dirty. So you can take it, you can pull your locks on it like that to open it up, or you can put it on your lap and just do this. And you just want to fluff it up enough so you can handle it and make sure that when you're spinning it, you get that twist in there. So here we go. I really love mohair. It's so shiny and so soft. Of course, there's different grades of mohair. I usually always try to get the kid mohair because the curls are smaller and it's so much softer. But I guess it just all depends on what you get. There's a lot of good farmers out there with good quality mohair. You can grab it and still continue to pull these apart a little bit. It's easy enough to keep it about the same width. But you do, if you try to, if you're spinning it, let me get to where I will show you this. I'll show you why I like to open it from the side and spin it. If you have just your lock, like, let's find one like this one. Like this one, just the lock, and you're attaching it from either the cut or the curl end. You're still going to have to open it up from the side, but you're going to get a thinner yarn. Whereas if you take it and you pull from here, attach it at the middle point here, then you're going to be able to let those curls stick out. So even though I'm grabbing clumps of it, or big handfuls, it's still spinning out that way. Still leaving those ends, and it maintains a fluffier yarn. The spinning mohair, the mohair is my ideal. I'm going to make it thinner. But see, if you're spinning it from end to end, you're not going to have a lot of fluffiness. But if you're spinning it from the middle and then working your way towards the ends, then you're going to get a fluffier yarn. And that's just kind of what I found has worked. So let's see. Let's try one more thing. I went through my stash and I found, I don't know if I want to use that. These are Teeswater locks, so they're a bit longer. From Terramia, I found some BFL that I had bought. And these are super tiny little crimped BFL locks. So they're really cute. Some of them are a little bit longer, but that's okay. They're so soft and fine. Hi, Anita. That to kind of finger pull these apart, I still grab it in the middle and do it. Since these are so tiny, if you have one of these brushes, it makes the job easier. And because they're tiny, so tiny, you could run it through your carder and probably not lose any lock structure. But if you have a little hand carders, if you have a blending board, if you have anything with carding cloth on it, it'll work really well. Just to kind of grab it a little bit and open it up, and then you can finish it off with your hands. But if you were, this is it is a time-consuming spin. Mostly because it depends on how much you have to work these locks with, how much prep time is involved. Because if you were to grab it and spin it like this, you still have to make sure that the joins are happening good. And spinning like this, for me, it's not going to join well. It'd be like if you were spinning